today. I hope you all have met Camille. She's been with us before the holidays and has sat with different people and met different members. And today we are welcoming her. Thank you. to the Rotary Club of Hampton Roads. So Mary Lou had sponsored Camille. She's done a lot of work, went to the board meeting yesterday and didn't fall asleep. And learned a lot about us, and we're just so pleased to invite you in your, what is it? Classification speech is coming up, so we look forward to hearing that from you. And we have special pins for you. One for Mary Lou. It's called a backer. So you would put that on the back of your pen, and then please wear this proudly. And a lot of people will say, what's that on the proud? And you can tell them that you are a proud member of the Rotary Club of Hampton Roads. I'm making it here. See that? I've been working out. We have a lot of people that will help and support you, and we look forward to having you become part of our team. You see, it takes a village. Everyone that plays their part, and the more you learn, tell us what you're interested in, and we'll get you right on in there. Thank you. Welcome. Thank you. Oh, and all your pamphlets, the ones that I sent you electronically, these are not electronic.
Okay.
So.
Thank you.
Okay.
Officially.
Thank you. Today we're lucky to have Dr. Daniel DeMarte back. He is the Chief Academic Officer at Tidewater Community College. And from my perspective, he's done the most to help students get more affordable service from the college and be able to continue on. And he tracks performance, he tracks students. He's done a lot to help us move forward. And today he's going to talk to us about the Z degree.
There we go. Already got it started.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Unfortunately, I ran out of time last time I got a chance to speak with you, but you invited me back, so I'm going to talk even faster this time. You slow me down. What I didn't get to talk about was, I think, probably the most exciting project the college has undertaken in quite a while. We're calling it the Z degree.
You might need to speak up just a little bit.
Okay. So this chart depicts, I think, in one visual, what the Z degree is all about. And what it shows is the cost of textbooks since 1978 have outpaced the cost of medical services, new home prices, the CPI, my retirement, sure yours. But you get the point. The cost of textbooks has been out of control for a long time. Now, that's not news. It's not uncommon for us to hear that 6 out of 10, 7 out of 10, 8 out of 10 students will not buy a book for a course they need because the cost is too high. And so either they don't take the course, or they do take it without the book and they don't do as well. There's a host of other reasons that they don't purchase a book. It's not news to Tidewater, shouldn't be news to any college in the country, and so we began probably 4 years ago providing additional options to just buying a new book. And so this shows what many colleges do. They offer students the opportunity to buy an e-textbook, to rent books, and to buy more used books. Rentals have taken off for us, which is good news, cost savings for students. But it's not the answer. Tidewater has found a way and has proven that an entire degree can be offered in such a way that a student doesn't have to buy a single book through the use of what is called open educational resources, which is freely licensed content. Okay? So we've piloted this. We're in our second year. We'll finish the pilot this year. So far, the success has been so good that we're going to announce, I hope later this spring, adding additional degrees in this mode. When we look at the metrics that we normally look at to see how well students are doing, 85% of our students say that the courses that they've taken without the textbook in this mode compared to those that they would have normally taken with a textbook, 85% of them say they are very satisfied with the Z degree courses. 85% say they would take another Z course. And 98% of them tell us that the quality of the content in the Z course compared to the same course with a textbook is as good or better than the course with a book. Okay? What's more important than that is the rest of the metrics we pay attention to. Students who take a Z course, the course without the book, few of them drop. Few of them drop the course, which means more of them get to the finish line, right? And they succeed at a rate that is equal to or better than the students in all the other courses that require the book. So from my perspective, there is no reason, based on what we have learned, to not expand what we are doing and save students money. Just some quick numbers for you. I mentioned we're in our 4th semester. When we finish the current semester, the pilot will be over. We will have had over 2,500 students finish a Z course. That's phenomenal because, conservatively, we will have saved them $250,000 in textbook costs. That's in pilot mode. So you can imagine what this could expand to. Taking those numbers and laying them over financial aid dollars, here's where you see the real impact. Last year alone, looking at summer, fall, and spring, last year alone, this is one college, this is Tidewater Community College, okay? That dollar amount, $11,974,552. Just under $12 million. That's how much money was spent by Tidewater students on textbooks alone.
In the bookstore.
In the bookstore. 7.2 million of that were students cashing in on their financial aid and student loans to buy those books. So, again, one college, 1 year. This is the target. President announced last week free education. How about we start with getting the books right first? Now, if a student completes their entire degree in this mode, according to our numbers, the typical student will save $2,400. And you can see how much that represents the entire degree. So there are other ways we can save students money that are smart and do not compromise in any way the quality of education that we're providing them. In fact, I would argue, based on what we're doing, the quality is even better. I'm stopping right there so I don't run out of time. If you guys have questions, I'd be happy to answer them. Yes, sir.
Doesn't the university typically make money on selling textbooks?
We contract with Barnes & Noble. So Barnes & Noble makes that money, but they do give some of that back to the college. And when I get questions about this, I do get the economics questions behind it. You know, what's the impact on the bookstore and the money that the college makes? I come back to this $12 million number. I guarantee you, it's not a multi-million-dollar figure that we get back from Barnes & Noble. So that's what we can save students. Yes, sir.
Seems like there was a time decades ago where the professor would put out the book, require the students to have it. And every year or two he'd change the paragraph, and the new edition had to be bought, right?
Yeah.
Is that still going on?
It's still going on.
That's the
And
model.
those kinds of things are stirring up this conversation, getting more colleges to think about it. There's a presentation I've seen on that point where this professor teaches, I think he teaches economics. He's used the same book for 30 years. Same book. In his presentation, he shows the glossary for this book that changed every other year and the price that that book has increased over 30 years. And after 30 years, the cost of that book went up like 500%. There was that much change to the content. One of the things we hear from our faculty who've gotten into this is, you know, they used to teach chapter 7 in the book because it was between 5 and 8. Well, with this, the way this is designed, they identify the resource that's attached to the outcome in the course. So all that other extraneous information, it's not in these courses. Only the content to teach the outcomes to the courses are what's in it. Yes, sir.
Just yesterday or the day before, in the Wall Street Journal, there was an article speaking to this problem. And is the incestuous relationship between the professors, the whole control process of what selection books, what are to be selected and so forth. And it's big clearly to this. So your program is very important to give competition, so to speak, to the normal book selling process.
It's the publishers who will feel the pain, and they're
Yeah.
starting to now. Most of our faculty, in my experience, they don't like the textbook scene at all, and so those who have adopted this and the numbers growing, they're all over this. Now, this has gotten a lot of attention. In fact, you may have seen it locally. We've been invited to DC twice. We're going for a third time in February. And this next time we're going, there's a major group of foundations who are thinking about getting behind what we are doing and expanding it nationally. No other college in the country, nowhere, has done what we've proven can be done. And so others are watching us closely and trying to figure out how they can make it happen. And we're going to help. Yes, sir.
I read one place where professors are writing these textbooks and making a lot of money. How's that impacting?
I think you see more of that at the university level. You do see some in the community colleges, but there's also a myth there about how much money they make. Yeah, they don't make as much as you might think. Some of the prolific writers who are putting out lots of textbooks may do well, but that's the exception, not the rule. Yes, sir.
Where does the open source content come from, and who's putting it together in a teachable format?
So the major hub of that content is in a place called the Creative Commons. You can find it on the internet. It's content that's been written by professors who are willing to give that content away and allow others to use it however they choose. Now, when you look at the Creative Commons, if you go there, there are tiered licenses that start with the most basic, where it can be used by anybody, anywhere, any way they want. The expectation is you share it. And it gets more stringent than that, where there are limitations as to whether or not a corporation can when you grab that and start to use it to make a profit. But for the most part, the whole idea behind this is to make the content free of charge, open for anybody to use. We have gone through pilot year a pretty good job putting policies in place to make sure that the way we use this is right. And so we put the infrastructure in place, we provide faculty the professional development they need. They're in the driver's seat on this, and that's the way this needs to happen. This is a grassroots effort at Tidewater, starting with our faculty. That's the mistake that others have made so far to try to get into this. They're not starting it there, they're mandating that it be done. You guys know how that plays out.
How many students in your
How many students do we have in general? Total students at Tidewater, about 44,000.
You're one of the big universities in the United States.
What's that?
You're one of the bigger universities in the state.
Second largest in Virginia. 11th largest community college in the United States. That helps draw some attention to a project.
Does that include all the branches?
It does. Yeah. Yes, sir.
You mentioned you're getting national attention on this. Are you getting any attention from the Department of Education on the federal level as looking at replicating this? Is that what you're referring to?
Yes,
or because our government is so large, and the government comes up with great programs that may or may not work. It's kind of like a science fair experiment. But if we got something that's proven, that's a better place to start with.
What I'm learning, we've been there twice at the invitation of the Obama administration. But what I'm learning, and having gone twice now, is it's just as hard to convince people to expand something that works as it is to start at the idea level and get it off the ground. That's puzzling to me. I don't know why that is, but that's what it's shaping up to be so far. Yes, sir.
So where will be the incentive for the students to write a book or do research and put it out? I mean, as soon as you come up with something that's on the internet, it's gone. Any capital way of paying back is not there. How are they going to, what's to keep people from writing books anymore?
Well, from a student's perspective, they save the cost of having to purchase it. From the
Talking after they graduate, an English major wants to write a book.
Yeah, well, and this is what I'm talking about is textbooks.
Yeah.
You know,
So
not pleasure
research.
reading,
Yeah.
novels, not that type of
Fiction.
thing.
Not research.
Okay.
Yeah. So this doesn't, at least right now, it doesn't spill over into those other areas. Yes, sir.
I'll share something with you. It happened to my university, Georgia State University. They just bought the Georgia Perimeters, which is a community college.
Yes.
And their enrollment went from 35,000 to 57,000. And their plans are, of course, to merge them in, they call Georgia State University with this satellite campus. Is that something that you think may happen to you guys one of these days?
I don't see that happening anytime soon. I think there's possibility there with some of the smaller colleges. But if you look at the pattern that's occurred with the K-12 divisions, especially in the states where they've merged, and I don't know the answer to that, and that's way beyond me. Now you're talking politics and legislation. Yeah, but I mean, anything's possible. In some cases, out of necessity, we probably need to be looking at some of those things. A lot of inefficiencies in the way we have things structured. Yes, ma'am.
To go back to Pete's question about research, particularly in ODU, the incentive for research is prestige and increase in title and increase in pay if you're a teacher there. So the research itself won't stop. The other part I don't know about, but I know at ODU, the research and getting published as a researcher, ODU prizes that. So there's a big incentive there to do that without no money. There's no money unless there's a grant.
On a national level, do any of these profits from these books, textbooks, go into athletics?
I have no idea.
What was the question?
I have no idea.
So, as I'm understanding you, if I'm a professor, I'm teaching in the economics course. If I can elect to use a textbook, or I can elect to go to the Commons and design my own course information from the Commons. Yes. So, in effect, it's a lot more work on me as a professor saying that I want this book, as opposed to going to designing my own.
It's, I think the faculty who've done this so far would tell you that to design that first course, there's a fair amount of work involved. But once it's designed, our model has changed such that we've got a hierarchy where we effectively build the course. That's the first major effort. Then as others join that group, they will adopt that course that already exists and then begin to adapt it as they get experience with it.
Sort of like a Wikipedia where you're constantly evolving and changing. So
Yes.
in that regard, it's quite frankly probably a lot more up to date than a textbook.
Yes, it is.
That's obsolete probably 6 months after it's been published.
Yes.
Or even before.
And we will provide you the training and the knowledge you need to help make that happen.
Are there
So you're
rights-
not on your own. We've got others who will help you to lay that course out and design it. One of the things that's great, one of the things I like very much about this, and points to your question, we can match for the first time the content with an outcome and measure it. Right? Normally what we do is we survey students, what did you think about the course? Well, there's nothing concrete about that. We can now measure it the way we're doing this. And we can assess whether that content was good or not, was it used, what was the interaction with the student, and did we achieve the outcome? So every faculty member who teaches one of these courses, they get a detailed report at the end of the course that tells them 3 things. Is there a better design? Should they tweak it? Is there other content that they could be using? And it gives them a list of recommendations that they can go back and implement based on that feedback. That doesn't exist anywhere. So that helps, that arms the faculty member with quantitative analysis that they don't get anywhere else. All of that content resides in our learning management system, and it has to be there in order for us to run the analytics. There's a lot, I could talk for 3 days about this.
We don't have that much time. In building the course,
Yes.
any concerns about if I put together resources from different textbooks, rights involved and things like that?
That's all covered in the Commons licenses.
Yeah.
Yeah, every bit of it.
You have to have that, you've had to do that work.
It's curated content, so it's
You
got.
always have to evaluate each book that is used.
That's
along the
right.
way, yeah.
So we started with 21 courses in our business degree. We selected which ones to include. I would say we had roughly 65 to 70 books that made up those 21 courses that would have cost a student $3,700. When that got converted to this model, we went from 37 books to 200 plus resources.
No, but I mean,
I know what you mean.
go ahead.
Back to your question, or I thought you were going to ask anyway, one of the common questions I get is academic freedom and what's that mean to the faculty member? Well, we went from 60 books to 200 sources. My response to that question is, it doesn't limit your academic freedom, it expands it dramatically. You're not tied to that one book anymore. You can use whatever free resource you want, as long as it's curated right and put in the course the way it needs to be put in. And we've got the protocols to make that happen.
When you say you have the protocols to make it happen, is there someone who's overseeing the course after the professor writes it,
Yes.
runs this information, and sit there and say,
Yes.
correct, it doesn't have a political slant, or it doesn't have a historical rewrite, or whatever the case may be?
It does not. I've got a key, I've got, first of all, I have some dynamite faculty. Probably the best faculty I have are on this project. And we have trained librarians at each of our campus how to be experts in this. So that faculty at the campus level can go to their libraries, talk to the expert, and get some help. We've got a 6-week training in place that addresses the licenses, how to design the course, where to go to get help internally. We've got all of that defined in place. Our standards have been around for probably 6 years now, in pretty solid shape. You can see them all publicly. They're accessible on our website. They're out there for the world to see.
You have a mechanism that one professor wants some information in, another professor wants another information in, or a different theory. And you have a mechanism where that is decided or determined by another person?
So as we expand this, the faculty in a given discipline will have those kind of conversations. And one of the things we've noticed already, in a couple of our courses, this, I think it was a biology course, the students who went through this mode, we looked at the data and compared it to students who go through the normal mode. The outcomes weren't even close. And we're not ready yet, but we're going to get to a point where we need to have a conversation, putting the analytics in front of us and determine whether or not we need to begin to mandate move in this direction, because the performance is so drastically different.
Who has ownership
We're not
of
there
that
yet.
text?
It's going to take us some time to get there.
Who has ownership of those texts that are developed?
In the Creative
Courses,
Commons,
yeah.
the public owns them essentially.
Okay, yeah.
We all own
You have to
them.
cover that base.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Are the resources out there online such that you can move into the engineering programs and the other disciplines? You have them in business right now, I understand, but can you move into engineering and start including those programs, those courses?
That's an excellent question, and that's partly what we're assessing right now. So we've taken what we've created. We're looking at what else is out there right now that's free. We're looking at all of that, and we're matching that up against our programs to see what are the next ones we can add. I think we're going to have, it's going to take some time to get to the point where when you look at our career programs, like engineering and mechatronics, HVAC, welding, you name it, when we get to the career programs, that's where we're going to have the greatest gaps until that content gets created and it's put out there for people to use. Now, in the business degree, one of the issues we ran into early on in the accounting courses, we didn't have problem sets. We didn't have good problem sets in textbooks. And so 2 of our faculty were I sent them off to Washington last summer. They met with a group of university faculty and they created problem sets, put them in the Creative Commons, and now we all have a common set of problem sets to use in our accounting courses. Our faculty will create content where we can help make that happen. And that's probably how we're going to get to some of that content on the career program side. We're going to have to create it.
Are you publicizing this?
Not as much as we're going to be, and the reason for that is I have been very careful to refer to what we're doing so far as a pilot. I don't want to put something out as the answer until we know we've worked out all the things that need to be worked out before we make an announcement. We are 9/10 of the way there, and I'm confident by mid-March, we will have wrapped it up and can go public with what we're doing.
Did you ever imagine you'd be doing something like this?
No.
Down here, like that?
No.
Yeah? Well,
Pretty excited.
yeah.
What are some of your glitches?
Glitches?
Yeah.
Conversation with a bookstore.
No.
In pilot mode, we couldn't move fast enough for student demand. So when we launched the first semester, we had 17 course sections. In the way we set it up, there were 13 faculty involved, and we allowed them to teach on their respective campus. So we might have an intro to business course in that first pilot mode that was only offered in the Virginia Beach campus. But the business students knew it was over there. They couldn't get there. They wanted that business section offered on their campus. We couldn't move fast enough to make that happen. You can see in this chart, we're expanding, and we focused initially on the business program. Part of the reason why we started with the business program is that's where we have our second highest number of graduates. We've got about 3,000 business students any semester, and about 350 to 400 students graduate from that program. So large program, we offer a lot of courses. It was a natural place for us to start. But I'd like to hit the 10,000 mark within the next 2 years and begin to add other degree programs. So we're moving in that direction. I just don't know if we can move fast enough.
What is your biggest campus?
Virginia Beach. About 40% of our enrollment's at the Virginia Beach campus, and that is pretty well evenly split among the other three.
One of your big problems to get the authors of these major textbooks, the leading edge textbooks, is to give you access to their material. Have you considered offering a nominal fee to these guys to open up for you?
You know, some of the more savvy publishers, that's what they're doing. They're finding ways to offer their textbooks at flat rate. So you would see companies out there now like Flat World Knowledge and OpenStax, where they'll make available a textbook for no more than $20. That's a step in the right direction, but that's not where I want to be. We'll continue to explore those options, but I want to eliminate the cost altogether. I don't want any student anywhere to not take a course or not do well in the course because they can't afford the book. It doesn't matter to me if it's $3 or $20. If that's the reason they can't get in it, I'd like to wipe that clean.
Well, that's the right incentive on the one hand, but you don't want to disincentivize authors, the best people for producing good textbooks. You don't want to kill that incentive.
Our best people to produce good textbooks are our faculty.
Yeah. Right. But you're going to have trouble in some of the other curriculums, engineering.
We will.
To get these guys to give you a freebie.
Well, as this begins to expand nationally, and it is, someone is going to put their engineering book out there and make it there. When
Perhaps
that happens,
alum-
it'll take off like a grass.
Alumni might.
Yes. Yes, ma'am.
I would think some of what you're doing, I would hope part of your research would be, like what we do is we try to help those that can't get to go further, that helps them. What I'm seeing is there are people that can't go to college strictly because they can't afford the books. They can get the loans, they can get maybe some financial assistance, but they can't get that extra bit of money. I think there'd be somewhere where you would want the outcome to say, look how many students came into the program and graduated, and that helps economic development all over the place, because then they can get better jobs.
Last time we got together, we were talking about the certification program. How is this going to fit with those folks?
So as we stack programs the way I described last time we met, this should make that entry point a lot easier. If the student doesn't have to factor in the cost of the book, hopefully that makes the decision to get into a course and get started a lot easier.
It is a heavy hit. I have three grandchildren that are in college right now. One of them's in the community college system, Christopher Newport, and one of them graduating from Longwood this spring, and the other one is in RIT up in New York, Rochester Institute of Technology. And that is the big thing. You get all your college loans, you get all your financing packages together, and then, three weeks after the course starts, your kid calls you up and says, you know, I need $600 for books. And it's a real hit, and I think it is an impediment to education.
No question.
When the student graduates, do they have access to go back to the current research 5 years later?
Yeah.
They do.
All of this is in the commons, every bit of it. And so when we pull a course out or content and we rework it for our courses, it goes back in.
Is that open to the public?
Yes,
There's a site out there?
it is.
What's the site?
It's called the Creative Commons.
All right, well, that was great. I wasn't with you last time, but I'll assume you got one of these, but I'll give you a second one. One of our mugs, so you can always remember. Yeah, we'll add it to your collection. We've got one more thing for you to do, because you're on our winning lottery ticket for the day.
I'll share mine. 175.
You need help too, huh? Okay. 586.
Bingo.
All right, we got it for the birthday boy.